And welcome for another episode of the Triumvirate, the Great Mattsby, Cantonese Cat Tracker. Welcome, everybody.
Yep. Hello. Well, I think only the most diehard are watching this show live right now because we didn't really do a tease for it. I just kind of said we're doing it, and same cat time, same Matt channel, and hopefully they remembered YouTube.
Well, yeah.
Time.
Yeah,
I think they will if they catch on.
Yeah, they should already know Tuesday night is when we all make up and make out. I mean, it's pretty standard now, you know. Anyway, welcome everybody. I think we got Tracker's screen on right here. I think you were gonna show us your thoughts. Yeah,
I thought I'd show you guys something I was thinking about for the markets. You guys have probably looked at this kind of thing before, but you don't think about it too often. But, you know, the Ichimoku indicator has this baseline that is a 26-period look back. And so what that means a lot of times is whenever you have a significant bottom, then, and the Ichimoku baseline is calculated based on the average of the highest high and the lowest low, 26 periods back. And so when a really low point expires, like passes forward, then like it's not being averaged anymore. And so what you see is that the bar starts to jump up. The baseline starts to move up. And the higher the most recent low is, then the higher the Ichimoku baseline moves up. And you guys have seen, you in the audience have seen, just how well the baseline does at predicting support levels, important support levels. The conversion line, which has a 12-period look back. Sorry, conversion line has a 9-period look back. And so you can really catch and see when things are moving bullishly or when it loses support. But the baseline has it with that 26-period look back, just really catches the important support levels on all sorts of different timelines. Anyway, this is a weekly chart. And what I was doing was just comparing the significant bottoms of the last few periods. Let's just go back. I've got even one back here from 2020, the pandemic. So after the pandemic, you look, and what happens is just before the baseline's really about to snap up because this low gets muted away, as the baseline moves up, price kind of moves down to not meet it exactly, but there's definitely a point where it seems like the conversion line breaks just a little bit before the end of the 26 period, in this case week period, and then you see some kind of dip around. Sometimes it happens before the 26 period. So here in 2023. We have this October 10 low, and this one had a couple dips in it, but you can see just before the baseline is getting ready to move up, price kind of comes down here in 2024. Just before the baseline is about to make its significant move up, the price starts to come down a little bit. This one happened about the peak here was just a few weeks before it hit a new bottom here. I kind of skip over this period, just like there's something more significant going on there I'll talk about in a second. Same thing. 26 bars right before the baseline's really about to move up really hard. It seems to be about where it loses the conversion line and has a little bit of, it's like the price comes down a little bit to meet the baseline coming up. And that does end up getting a correction here. And then so looking at us where we are now, we're about 23 weeks, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, we're like 21 weeks out from 26 weeks later from the April 7th low. So I'm kind of expecting the pattern would give us a little bit of just as the baseline's about to move up, I would expect to see price come down just a little bit here in the SPX. And then, so that's looking at a weekly chart. You can also look at it on a 2-week chart. and it does the same sort of thing. 26 weeks after, let's go on. How far do I go back? This one's kind of complicated. I'll see if I can talk about that in a minute. But from the October 10th low, 26 bars out on the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, which is amazing, by the way. I never even thought about looking at a chart 2 weeks at a time until Kat brought it up and showed Tesla that one time. And since then, he's used it a lot. But yeah, same thing. Before the 26 period is over, it kind of weakens and price comes down. In this case, it actually did touch the Ichimoku baseline. And then here after March 31st, well, this is where we are now. So again, in 13 weeks, 26 weeks, but the halfway point, maybe it'll come down a little bit. And then, we probably see some significant high up here before it starts to come back down again at the end of this 26 weeks. Oh, I'm sorry, 26 times 2 weeks. Oh, it kind of looks like a katana right there a little bit. And then the monthly chart, Same thing. You look 26 bars out. And this one kind of gets really interesting because it almost seems like 26 months is about how long you get, like a 20-week run, then 4 weeks of weakness before you get another dip soon, a significant dip. And then here we had 26 months later. This one made it all the way, it was like bullish all the way through 26 weeks, and then we got a significant dip. So I'm just wondering if the same sort of cycle of time continues and we see something where, it's a lot higher 26 months out, and then we get a significant dip after that. So anyway, I just wanted to show you, as far as being traders out there and thinking about how much time we have in any particular cycle, keep note of October 6th. Maybe if you see some kind of weakness just ahead of October 6th, maybe it's going to get a little bit of a dip. It doesn't have to come all the way down to the baseline at all, but just some weakness potentially there. Same thing here, 26 bars of 2 weeks. It's like 52 weeks out. So yeah, it's like March 30th. And then 26 months will be June 1st, 2027. What else did I want to say? And then I kind of looked at the chart. I was trying to look at where we had significant dips and where the baseline made a certain pattern. Did you see it on the weekly or it was on the 2-week chart? Maybe it was a 2-month chart. Anyway, I came up with, is it this one right here? Yeah. So if you look at how price recovered from this huge dip, it really did go all the way down to 2190 right there. And then you got this really nice arc to a much higher price point. And then the only time you see a dip this extreme after that, like on a smaller scale, is this one right we just had April 7th dip. And so just if this is a fractal of that, I don't know. I could see something happening. Oh, I think it was on a weekly chart because I had, here it is. Because I've got my, my parallel, my fib channels here. And it looked like it kind of dropped through the base of this fib channel and then went up up to this one. And then this one dropped to the bottom of this fib channel. And so I could kind of see it going into the next one here. Anyway, gosh, it was just like a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago. I was telling people that, the SPX will see like 6,000 easily. And people said like, no way, there's no way you can see 6,000. Went back here when we were like in the 4600s, 4600s. And, no, it was actually, we definitely hit it pretty easily. Now we're past 6,000. And I'm talking about, I think it was Bank of America. They have an analyst saying they're looking for like the next topping near 666 SPY. And that's like, oh yeah, that was my number too, right? And then Deutsche Bank, I think, has like 6,500, and a lot of other ones have like 7,000. But yeah, I think in time we'll easily see 7,000 and beyond. It's just that maybe after 26 weeks or 26 2-week periods or 26 months, we'll see another, well, probably in 26 months, right? We'll see another dip that will propel us to the next part here. So yeah, 26 months, 26 months, 26 months seems to be the cycle. Now, those people that I told you about, I used to learn with the Elliott Wave trading group. They would look every time you see like 3 waves up, they'd say, oh, now, and then you'll get like this huge ABC down. And we've never really had it. It really does kind of stay in these long channels. I mean, here's the SPX, and look, it's just been in this very channel. It got drawn ever since the internet, really. I mean, we were just over it, and then we had sort of I call it a channel flip. This one channel flipped, and then we've been in this channel. So I don't know, maybe at some point when this gets topped out, it'll do another channel flip, and we'll end up doing this on forever, but it'll just kind of be the channel will move down a little bit, because otherwise, if it just goes exponential in one channel, then we'd already be at 21,000 by now. So it has to kind of at some point adjust itself to keep the numbers from getting too crazy. But when we talk about we have these big market shocks, I mean, they really are. It's not like the market shock is a symptom of the market top. It's more like these market shocks, I feel, are the rubber band or the bow being drawn back, and it creates, the energy that we need to get to these higher and higher highs. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of what I was thinking about for the last week.
All right.
It's not very technical. It's not super technical, but it's just sort of, I don't know, observational charting, right? And then so what the period from the 70 from the basically we've got the space program, and then we've got computers, and computers are widespread. From the age of the internet, we've finally got the promise of the internet fulfilled, and now we have artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence will take us, to the SPX 20,000, and then humanoid robots will take us to, 120,000, and then, I don't know, after that, interplanetary exploration, and we have markets that span planets, multiple planets. Anyway, the human civilization just keeps growing. It doesn't, unless we get a big asteroid that hits the planet or something like that, or aliens show up and say that we're not worthy. I just see human progress as charted by the SPX continuing along this path, just ever higher. Human civilization, like stocks, it only ever goes up. And that's my thought.
Very, very
I
good.
think it'd be very ironic if the aliens show up to our planet and then tell us that we're not worthy. Like, why would you bother showing up to our planet?
Well, we would know because Tracker would be the first to tell us with his "Oh no,
oh no!" They'd show up. Maybe the meteor that takes out human civilization was actually launched by the alien civilization that deemed us not worthy, after setting one of their long probes past us.
Wait, I'm sorry, I lost you when you said probe.
I thought for sure that you would have a joke after I said long probe.
I was already telling our audiences to take a shot whenever you say the word hard, but
Nice.
but they're all drunk right now.
Helicopter.
Oh man. Hey, look at my profile on X. I made a poster for you just now.
Nice.
Tracker. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. 26 months later. That's fantastic.
You gotta change the names up top though, huh?
Yeah, I'm too lazy. It's a good director.
Those are great. I haven't seen this one yet. I've seen the other two. And I'm looking forward to watching this one. It's out on I think HBO Max is right now.
Yeah. So this is exactly what happens. The cat takes over 26. Anyway, yeah. I don't have much to show tonight. Matt, what do you think about SPY? Do you have any confluences or anything you want to talk about? What your chart shows? Also, not just from like a granular sense, but also just kind of like from a macro sense.
Yeah. Okay, I was muted.
I was
muting myself, but the big thing is this channel still is alive and well. I think I showed it a couple of weeks ago, not last Sunday or not last Tuesday because you were gone. But I think the previous week I did show this, and if I remember correctly, if you guys go back in time, I even have this little words right here. Like this is the last time it closed a monthly candle above this trend line here. There hasn't been any monthly candle close really above it since 2002. And
that was the channel switch I just showed you guys.
Yeah. So I think on a macro point of view, this is something that's historical. It's something that hasn't really happened ever, right? So if this trend is alive and well, which it certainly looks like it, this is possibly great evidence that this is really an everything rally, right? Like look at SPY, it's breaking out. Look at gold, it's breaking out above the linear scale 4.236 from the 2020 high and the 2022 low, right? This is breaking out. When we look at IWM, is it basically all-time highs yet? No, but it's breaking out, right? It's above a level that has not been seen with a monthly candle close since this fake out back in November of last year. And we already got a monthly candle close last month, and we're working on continuation this month. So this is unprecedented stuff for IWM as well. And then we saw what the miners are doing recently now too. They're breaking out. And a lot of altcoins, they're starting to break to the upside while Bitcoin really just consolidates. So things are either consolidating, waiting to go higher, or they're breaking out. This is really the definition of the everything rally that I think we were talking about last year at some point. I think we started talking about this, like November of last year, right, Kat?
Yeah.
Maybe right before the election or something. Yeah, I think we're talking about it then. But in my view, the SPY is super healthy. The QQQ also is super healthy. We can just see it's building a base on top of the log-based 1.618 fib for 3 months in a row now, soon to be 4 months in a row. And I think it could even continue to the 700s above. So nothing is scary at all. It's just melting up slowly. Even our beloved Tesla is really breaking out, and it's currently in backtest mode of this ARK, which people think is just going to collapse because they are conditioned to think Tesla is going to collapse. But it's really not. It's just holding levels magnificently. And this backtest, in my view, is something that's very, very bullish and very healthy and wants to continue higher. So no matter where I look, it's really hard to find something that is a bearish looking chart.
Because everything's rallying. It's the everything rally.
For reals this time, guys. For reals.
No, I like it when it's for reals. I don't like it when it's not for reals.
When it's for fakes, you're not a fan.
Yeah. I guess I can show a couple of things, when it comes to maybe trying to look for confluences. One thing I always look at is this QQQ over SPY ratio. which basically, during a secular bull market, the Qs or the Nasdaq should be relatively outperforming the S&P 500. That's what this ratio here is showing you. We got a little bit of a hiccup over here in 2022 where the Nasdaq just dropped like 38% or something like that, and I think the S&P 500 only dropped like 26%. So you have a significant outperformance of the Nasdaq here in 2020, followed by a significant outperformance for S&P 500. And now you're kind of making this like V-shaped recovery. It looks like the Qs are trying to outperform here again, forming a little bit of higher high, higher lows over here. And this ratio has been doing nothing for like 2 years. And it's finally causing a Bollinger Band squeeze and now the Bollinger Band expansion here. And so far, we got for the month of September a little bit of a bullish engulfing candle here. It looks like QQQ wants to probably continue to outperform SPY. That's bullish in my opinion. This ratio is basically trying to form all-time highs as the bull market goes. It generally just keeps on doing that. So yeah, nothing bad here. The only other thing I wanted to show is also like the one thing I also follow is the TQQQs, which I actually honestly think this might be a little bit of a Palantiring candidate, to be honest with you. Although I would like to see the lower Bollinger Band kind of expand a little bit more, but it's the TQQQs. It's trying to break into like all-time highs. You remember how people are like, well, don't ever buy like triple leverage, crap because of decay and all that. But I guess it all depends on your timing. I cannot be that bearish if even like the teacher is trying to break about the all-time high here. The other thing too I've been watching is for ARK. I've got this Gann chart here and been following that pretty closely. It's been following this angle here perfectly as support. And it's been trying to break about this horizontal line over here. Once it broke about, it's been trying to break about this arc over here for a very, very long time. And we got rejected there 2 months in a row. And I was looking and it was like, I'm not sure if I like that, but it really looks like it wants to try to push through here. I mean, it's still early, the month is still really, really early, but I just can't really be that bearish here when I'm looking at something like this. So with IWM looking good, gold looking good. If gold looks good, actually tells me I think the cycle might actually go on for even longer than I thought, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And if ARK is looking better, if TQQQ is trying to bring about his all-time high, and if you already have a huge deleveraging event over here, and the people are still scared of the market, if you look at like the AII sentiment survey from last week, you have more bears than bulls, which is just kind of crazy when things are getting close to like all-time highs, when you just have a huge deleveraging event. I'm seeing some pretty decent things happening now. I don't know whether or not the risk-reward ratio is going to be at the large caps here because they are a little bit overextended, as you can see. Things can stay overextended for a while, sure. Things can stay overextended here for a while, sure, but they're a little bit far away from the blue line, as opposed to something like, I guess IWM is also pretty far away from the blue line too because of this crazy wick down here below. But can you imagine this over here is taking into account of like 9 candles over here so far? And I guess like 3 months later, I think this thing's going to keep like shooting up, moving forward from there. So, yeah, I don't have anything bad to say. The upper Bollinger Band on the monthly is still expanding to the upside. There's more room for IWM to go up. I don't have anything bearish to really say about the market. If you are going to be a little bit more cautious here, I think I understand being cautious maybe a little bit on the large caps, but the small caps look like they might just be kind of getting started here, to be honest with you. So those are my quick Gestalt thoughts, if you will.
Nice. Yeah, I can expand on that with some more comparison charts as well. If you're finished, Kat.
Do it.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Yeah. All right, so let's start off with Bitcoin and the QQQ. And I wanted to show you that I don't think Bitcoin's ready to outperform QQQ just yet because it looks like it's still going for another back test here. Right right here, maybe the 176 zone. So it could go a little bit lower before higher, but the symmetry of this chart has been beautiful, right? Resistance, support, trickle down that arc, previous resistance flipping to support. So I think Bitcoin is going to continue its outperformance against like the QQQ and gold and everything, but it's not there yet. So just a little bit more patience. But we also can add like the 50-week moving average on here, and we can see it. Well, it is touching that right now, right? Or almost. So it is almost at the 50-week moving average support. So maybe it does not need to go down. Maybe it is almost at support. So I know a lot of people are like, well, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? Is it going to collapse, or is MicroStrategy just going to fall apart too? Well, we'll take a look at all of that. But I just want to show you that I think the reason why it's underperforming everything else is because it's allowing other things to kind of catch up. And an interesting development too that I want to show you with Bitcoin and gold is actually, we'll just take this off. It's actually finally got to this angle over time. Like I was paying attention to this for a very long time, and just going back from a long time ago, it's just how it was in these channels here in the arcs. Then it went up to angle resistance. Then ever since that time, it just gravitated to the next angle, and we're here. So I think if gold or if Bitcoin's about to make a move on gold, it could be right now. So I think we could be close to a bottom in gold compared to everything else. I think it's time for things to continue the journey higher. I think even if we add on the moving averages here, we can see it's right underneath the 50-week moving average, but it did it before. But I think this is just a good confluence, in my opinion, that we're nearing a bottom for gold. And then if we combine that with the MicroStrategy chart in general, people are worried that it's just going to collapse because of this losing this 1.414 fib going underneath the arc. But when you add on the Ichimoku cloud, we can see it's also in a bottoming process, which kind of bodes well for Bitcoin as well. Like if MSTR could be at a bottom, then perhaps also Bitcoin can as well, right? MSTR and Bitcoin, they kind of move together. But more importantly here, I think I want to show you guys is the linear scale development of the fibs here. And with that development, look what it's actually backtesting right now. From the 2021 high to the bottom, it's actually maintaining this 2.618 linear scale fib at 322.82. So this is, in my view, more confluence that Bitcoin could be bottoming, MSTR could be bottoming. And I hear my echo in the background from Tracker's audio.
I was going to say something about the, people are, I saw there was at least one new person here. And if it sounds a little bit like we're saying that the tail wags the dog, as chartists, we often do see these kinds of confluences where two charts that are linked together, like MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin isn't quite clear, but MicroStrategy does have something showing that it's at a support. It really does seem to, it has a magical confluence on Bitcoin price. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I wanted to show you all the developments like Bitcoin against the QQQ, Bitcoin against gold, and even MSTR, right? It just, no matter where I look, it looks like Bitcoin is in the bottoming process right now. And perhaps it could go a little bit lower. But from what I see, I'm not too worried about Bitcoin. It's allowing other things to catch up. It's allowing Ethereum to catch up. It's allowing some of the altcoins to catch up. And it's just allowing things to become more bullish alongside with it, right? We can even look at Bitcoin dominance too, BTC.D, and this one is on linear scale. It already broke down below the 618, and breaking below that is actually a very bullish thing because it was a previous resistance that broke out and flipped it to support back in March. But now it's flipping it back to resistance. And on top of that, we can even go to the Ichimoku cloud, and it already flipped the cloud to a resistance as well. So bullish developments all along. So I think it is almost time for Bitcoin to go back up, but I still think it's probably going to underperform the risk on stuff, which means it is going to do good, but not as good. So that's what I have to say. Anybody?
No, I just think of Bitcoin as like vanilla ice cream. It's still good, like you can eat it, but yeah. But I don't know. It's not something you have to put a condom.
You need your hot fudge all over it, right? That's your altcoins and your Ethereum. Your hot fudge and your nuts. Yeah.
You can actually make a fudge shake with vanilla ice cream and fudge. Like, it's one of the best things on earth. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, no, looking pretty decent here. I don't really have a whole lot to add. I think I guess we can move on to Ethereum, because everybody is like, what the heck is happening? Ethereum is doing nothing for the last few weeks. Yeah.
What the heck is happening with Ethereum,
Oh my
Kat?
God.
What the heck is happening with Ethereum?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm asking Matt. I don't know.
I'll share my thoughts, then I'll switch it to you guys. But it's just consolidation mode for Ethereum. Yeah. And essentially, when we go put on not that fib. I always delete fibs. I don't know why. It's just a force of habit, just deleting things.
Make them again.
Unlike me.
Yeah.
But here's the deal with Ethereum, right? This is a normal process with a lot of charts. They go back to previous all-time highs, they get rejected, then they consolidate. And a lot of people are screaming 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. But I have a linear scale chart that kind of says otherwise at the moment, and I share it all the time with my Patreon people, but I'll share it with you guys today. And here it is, right? The linear scale chart. I think the reason why we're not really going lower is because it flipped the arc from a resistance over here to a support. So this is really around 4260, and guess where price keeps on bouncing, guys? It's not a coincidence. Right around that 4260, 4270 zone. So if you're expecting price to just go back to the 4,000 or go below it, then it's going to have to flip that arc to a resistance in order to do so. So I don't currently expect it to go back to 4,000 down here on the log scale log scale support, because so far so good. Holding support, it's actually building a new base, and you know what happens next? If this is successful, guess where it's going? It's going to 55, 6,000. Even the next blue level up here is 7,000 above. So great developments for Ethereum, and people hate when things consolidate. I just never understood that. They don't view things that are consolidating as bullish, and I just cannot wrap my head around it, right? This is extremely bullish because it's never really done this before. It's literally building a base at the highest level ever, and it's never done that before. It's never closed this many consecutive candles this high ever in the history of the chart. So extremely bullish. Just wait until this consolidation is done, and then it's going to be blast off again. And then everybody, they're going to wish that they bought, just like they wish they would have bought 1,500 down here. They're like, oh, it's going to go lower. It's going to go lower. Guess what? That was the bottom, right? So you can't always assume lower. If you always assume lower, you're never, ever, ever going to buy. So, Kat, I'll let you share.
Well, that reminds me of a chart. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. If Kat
no, please. I want you to interject and inject.
Matt's got a chart on Tesla where it's at support now.
Oh yeah, it is like the log-based Tesla right now. They're kind of like doing the similar things, right? It's flipping an arc to a support, but this is log scale. This is linear scale. But it's the same idea, same concept, right? People are bearish of Tesla right now, like, oh, it's not a real thing. It's going to go back to the 320s, whatever. It's going to go lower. Well, just let the chart prove it to us if it wants to. But this is bullish. Ethereum is bullish. Backtests are bullish. I hope you guys realize that. In a bull market, backtests are bullish. But in a bear market, guess what? Backtest of resistance, they're bearish, right? Just like you see confirmation of resistance, send lower. So I'm not always bullish at support. I'm only bullish at support when it's a bull market.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always a good tip, man. Always a good tip.
Hey, just the tip, you know.
Tracker would know. Tracker listens and push your tip right next to his ear every morning. So that's What?
Just a show note. I was thinking I'm going to be traveling for the next few weeks. Maybe next Tuesday, if you could get Luca on the show, you guys should do a show with Luca. That'd be awesome.
I don't know if he'll fit his European time. I think he's
he's probably sleeping.
His nappy time. You don't want to hear Luca all like frustrated. I've never heard him like that. So. What am I doing up there?
I mean, we already know if Kat runs away, we're going to get like 17 new guests anyway. So
you're going to have like,
Kat's not here. Oh, I'll join.
The biggest guests with like the 200,000 followers. Like, yeah, I've been waiting for that guy to be on.
Whoops.
I'll jump in. I'll jump in the middle of the show.
Yeah. Sorry, honey. I gotta do this right now. All right. I'll switch to you, Kat. Go ahead.
All right. I mean, I just wanted to reiterate the same thing. I don't know if you guys can see this too clearly, but basically, I'm showing 3 different cycles for Ethereum. You can zoom in on each one of those to kind of show you, but the granular thing is just zoom out. It basically goes through very, very similar things as it has done before, where you have a trend line been trying to hold, and then you have a breakdown, like a little bit of a false breakdown here. Same thing here that we just experienced. You also have a deviation up top here, this cycle, and also we have a little bit of deviation over here, this cycle. So zooming in here, granularly speaking, you basically are at the phase where my arrow is pointing at. You have a breakout during this really short cycle. It decided not to do any kind of significant back test, which is fine once it broke about the cycle liquidity zone of resistance and flipped that into support. Here during this cycle, it decides to spend, a good, few months or so to break out and do a little bit of a back test. It did go back to some of the lower levels here at this liquidity zone, but eventually it broke out. It just broke out here. So far, we have just broken about this liquidity zone. And we are doing a little bit of back test. How far does it go down? Who knows? Who cares? I just, it's building up for something, that's pretty interesting here. I think it's going to be pretty decent here moving forward. I also want to show the others chart here too. Now that you're talking about the, like altcoins, I also want to show a little bit of a comparison between here and Tesla, because we also have shown that on the weekly chart here, you finally have others, which is basically a cryptocurrency market cap, excluding the top 10 coins. And this is what Matt was talking about, how Bitcoin's kind of taking a break and allowing everything else to kind of play catch up. Look at how others is doing right now. You have the Ichimoku conversion line that's very positive sloping and essentially pushing others up here. And you found a moment of vulnerability when the Ichimoku cloud was, saying, "Hey, I'm kind of just broken up with my boyfriend. I'm a little vulnerable." So it found a moment of vulnerability and just pushed right through that. And you kind of basically got a candle here right above the Ichimoku cloud here. And coincidentally, when this is happening, it was also happening with this other stock here called Tesla, how it also kind of broke above the Ichimoku cloud over here as well. So they're kind of doing very similar thing at the same time. It's pretty interesting in terms of maybe all of this stuff has to do with, gosh, I don't know. Maybe because IWM has broken about its Ichimoku cloud after getting rejected here for like a month and a half, 2 months, and finally broken above, and maybe the other stuff is kind of playing catch up. Maybe it is, no pun intended. So I think that we're experiencing a little bit of catch up here in terms of other stuff. And that goes along with, one of my favorites, which is DOGE. DOGE is still lagging. It's still underneath the Ichimoku cloud. But just looking at the formation is not bearish. You got a double bottom over here. You got a breakout, got a little bit of a back test here. And you're reclaiming an uprising conversion line over here. That's not bearish. You look at the monthly here. It's still inside the cloud. I mean, yeah, it's underneath the conversion and base over here. But that's what it does every single time before it breaks out. Look at what it did over here, right? I think it's just basically, if you don't use any indicator, well, I use one more indicator here. I use the 20-month moving average. If you just use the 20-month moving average here, this is not bearish at all. Like, you're basically flipping the resistance here into support, and it's been riding up, making higher highs and higher lows on the way up all the way. And you can see how something like this builds up a lot of energy here to the upside, and it can potentially make some more parabolic moves like this one over here and like this one over here. Who knows if it's going to be playing out very similar to the last 2 cycles, which has been extremely bullish. But if you just take away all these indicators, just looking at the market structure by itself, like, how is this bearish? Like a big giant cup here with a handle, another cup here with another handle. This thing looks pretty decent here. Where is that? I mean, I don't know what other people think about it. If you also just look at others chart here, look at the whole overall cryptocurrency market cap here, excluding top 10, you can see a very, very similar setup here, a very beautiful cup and handle, 2 handles actually, and this is also a higher high, higher low type situation. It looks beautiful here. If you do total 3, if you take up Bitcoin and Ethereum, and just look at the cryptocurrency market cap overall without those two, it's getting ready to push above all-time high. Like there's really nothing too entirely bearish about these market structures here. I can go through more like individual coins and things like that, but I think I'm gonna maybe pass it back to either Matt or Tracker to kind of talk about those. And I think eventually we should probably also touch on like the miners and stuff. But yeah. Wait.
Yeah. No, but I have an important question I have an important question before we switch. What kind of ice cream is Ethereum?
I would say that is mint chocolate chip.
Then what about Doge?
It's whatever, like butter pecan, I guess. I don't know.
Pistachio.
Pistachio. Cookies and cream with extra cream. Yeah.
I thought that would. What's XRP then? Birthday cake.
Birthday cake. Chocolate chip cookie dough with extra cookie dough. I don't know.
or chain link.
If you're into that,
chain link's like chocolate, I guess. You know, like it's good. You know, that's the trick. You know, I don't know.
Well, I'm curious about what's Tracker's favorite ice cream now with Ethereum.
There's this Turkey Hill brand flavor that my wife really likes. It's called Double Dunkers, and it's like a coffee ice cream with cookies and chocolate chip cookie batter and fudge.
That does
sound good, but it's kind of disturbing that Tracker's favorite ice cream is his wife's favorite ice cream. I
like a good mocha flavor.
Fair enough. But yeah, how about you, Tracker, for Bitcoin and Ethereum, though? Your charts, you got some ideas?
Well, I just have that same Bitcoin chart that I showed you guys in the past.
Well, what about Ethereum then? We gotta see your take on that.
I don't know if do I have an Ethereum chart? I don't.
Ethereum.
I got this channel here.
Well.
Yeah, you know, what did I build this out of? It wasn't this. I'm not really sure. What we talked last week, or last time we talked about Ethereum going to 4,000, or I'm sorry, 14,000. That was what this chart was supposed to be about. No, you know, I'm sorry, I don't have an Ethereum chart. I've got some ideas I was kind of pushing around, but no, this isn't it. What was I thinking with this? No, I don't have anything really to share on this. You know.
Well, let me ask you a question then, Tracker. Are you doing any crypto right now? Anything?
I'm still in my XRP. I'm kind of hanging out, waiting for. I guess I have an XRP chart.
Yeah. What are your expectations for? What are your expectations for XRP based on what you're seeing?
You know, I was kind of thinking that maybe this. Let's see, what did I do here? I did this bottom to this top, and yeah, I was hoping like the 702 would hold, and so far it has. And yeah, you know, I'm looking for this to do a 1618, kind of like I did back here. I don't know when it's going to hit. I guess I should think about it being more like this, which is, oh, look, it's the end of the year, December. I'm just following, you know, in this is a fib channel. It's this tool right here. And I just kind of like took, oh gosh, which ones did I take? I think I took it off the top, and it is off the top. I took these two right here, these 2 points, here and here, and I just said, yeah, that fits. And I pulled it down so that actually I need to pull this down again. Unlock. Pull it down to right about, well, right here, I'd say. Yeah, and then these channels, I don't know, maybe it'd be more interesting to show my fib channel tool than anything else. These fib channels are, there's 0, and then it's 0.1111, 0.2222, 0.3333, 4444, and then 0.5. Instead of doing a 0.5, I've kind of got a 0.49 and a 0.51. Makes this gray band in the center. So like the 50 is the gray band right in the middle with a little bit of wiggle room on the left and the right. Then it's the 0.6666, 777, 9999, and then this is 1, and this is 1.1111. So like here, if I just show you the settings right here, you can take a screenshot of that if you want, and it looks a lot better actually if I do it this way, so that the bullish structure stuff is green on the top. That's how I designed it. This is green, this is red, and so it allows it to go into the negative if it has to, and then eventually it goes over 1. But you can see, everyone get ready to take a drink. Market symmetry shows how it goes right through the center here, and falls here, drops under, goes over about the same amount. And it really it seems to really want to stay along this fib channel. So, which is why maybe now I should move this out to here. I'd love to see it. Yeah, 540 might take, oh gosh, that's 2026. Oh, it's so slow. But look at how long it took to do this. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This was amazing. And I think Matt is looking for this to happen again. I'm looking for this to happen again, but it's just going to take a little while. Well, I guess it could break. Let's see. This one crossed through the center. It's going to happen somewhere like along here. I think it'll hit one of these fib channels. That's what I would like. That's October 27th. This is October 20th. I don't know, but yeah, I'm just holding XRP. I've got a little bit of Doge. I've got a little bit of, I can't even remember the third one.
Fartcoin.
Yeah. I should buy some Fartcoin. No, I don't have Fartcoin.
It's actually looking pretty decent where it's at. But anyway.
Let me show you something else that's kind of cool. Here's a chart, CoreWeave, that I've been bullish on. And I want to show you the fact that I just was playing around with these were 26 16-hour periods. So here's a chart. Here's the bottom, the 0%, and then what happened here? That's not 1%. That's 886. How did that happen? It's because I put it there. I said, what if this is just the 886 resistance and it hasn't even gotten to the 100% yet? And I looked down here and I said, well, that kind of fits because the 50% center pivot seems to be kind of the support that we just got finished struggling with. And when it finally did make this move off of, let me get rid of this so you can see the candle wicks. That's it. I mean, it came right off of the center pivot. The $88.98 is where that weekly, basically you have a Moro Botsu candle going on here so far. So yeah, I'm bullish on CoreWeave to not only retest the 886, like once it gets over the 618 at 112 and test back to a support, it should go and re-challenge the 86 and be able to make it to the 100%. So now you're talking about a stock that currently, let's see, this is a week. So this at 4 p.m., it actually ran up quite a bit after market this evening. But from 4 p.m.'s price to the 886, is the wrong one. Price is 88% higher, and then to the 100% log scale FID's 136% higher. So I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity with CoreWeave, and I really do like the what's the word? What's the opposite of technical?
Helicopter.
Yeah, no, helicopter. But anyway, the CoreWeave does infrastructure for build-outs for our AI platforms and installations. So we're just at the point in AI where they're getting really great results now, and they know that to get the artificial intelligence better, they need to make bigger and bigger and bigger data centers, and CoreWeave is at the heart of building out more data centers. So like whatever they've got now, they need like 10 times more of, and then add another zero, in another 5 years, they'll need 100 times more. And so NVIDIA, CoreWeave, all these AI and AI associated stocks are just going to go, bonkers for the next 30 years, I'd say. That's where I'm putting my money. CoreWeave and similar things. A lot of those things that Cat pointed out have to do with AI as well. So, do you want to talk about your Cat pick, your Cat stocks again? Because they're really good. And you did an update on them recently, and I know you had a video for that. People could go watch the video, but I don't know. Do you want to do a highlight version of it?
I think Cat is muted or something. Cat, come back to
Maybe he doesn't want to do
us.
it.
I was getting water. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was asking if
I was
asking if you wanted to do like a maybe even just go over that. No, talk about the 11 Cat picks, and then like
11 Cat picks.
Yeah,
I mean,
revision.
I can do that, but I also want to. These channels look like Ghostbusters crossed the stream. By the way, that's.
I know, right?
Anyway.
So this was like it was clearly like overall it's an uptrend, but it was in this downtrend channel, and I was just waiting. We're waiting for it to break. I'm waiting for it to break the channel, because this is the. Oh wait, where did you? Oh, it includes after hours price action. That's why it's up here. So it's just about to break the channel, and then return to its regularly scheduled bullishness. But I'm calling this the bottom of what's going on here, and we're just going to go up from here for CoreWeave is how I see it. Damned all the people who say that they could still sell shares for insiders. Be damned. I think the smart money is to hold here and let the price run before they do any more selling, because they can always just borrow off of. They don't need to sell to make the money. They can borrow against their holdings if they keep them. All right. Anyway, Kat, do you feel like doing your thing?
I suppose, but I feel like it might be a little bit of a overlap here with miners and and the stuff. So I can go through like the Palantiring stocks that are not miners, I guess.
Okay.
But before I do that, because I also want Matt to also talk a little bit about maybe the miners as well. And altcoins. We still have alts and miners. We haven't did yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me do like a quick summary, and I'll pass it to Matt, and then I think we'll probably end the show with like a lightning thing. Yeah.
And it does look like Ghostbusters crossing the streams and the Care Bear here.
It does. I mean, I think if you this is my fifth channel for Bitcoin. I basically used the two pivot points here from COVID and from the cycle bottom from 2022. You do a decent fifth channel here. The reason why it feels like Bitcoin is doing nothing is because it really has been doing nothing. It's just been consolidating between like the 0.382 and the 0.136. It's been oscillating around. Right now it's just kind of holding 0.336, like right in the middle of this big giant range right here for like a year and a half, So that's probably why you feel like Bitcoin hasn't really been doing anything. But pretty much every single cycle, you have the bull cycle that actually end up breaking fib level after fib level after fib level. I don't think that's really happened yet. I'm still thinking that you'll probably still do that. Because it looks, if you look at it this way, it looks great. It looks like it really wants to just find some support here and wants to bounce up. And you also look in the Bollinger Band here too, is holding the 20-week moving average here just fine and squeezing too. So it makes me wonder what the next move is going to be. I mean, it could be down, sure, but it looks like it's holding support, so I'm going to be leaning a little bit more bullish here. The other thing too, with Matt was talking about Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum dominance is also doing a little bit of a breakout and a back test here on the Ichimoku, which is beautiful. It's like almost the exact opposite of Bitcoin dominance is what you have with Ethereum dominance, is cooling off as is supposed to. So there's no concern I'm really seeing here with Ethereum at all. Now, going to my Palantiring candidates. First, I guess we'll talk about Palantir. I mean, to be honest, it looks like initially we had a little bit of a scare here, like it was gonna get rejected here at the 1.618, and we're all going to end up having a cycle top here, and it's going to be a big giant arrow down, right, back in the teens, right? That's what a lot of picture has been drawn for many like months, just keep on playing down like that. But it's still breaking levels. It's still about the 1.618. If it's able to close about the 1.618, I really think that, and again, I'm not like 100% certain. I think I'm probably like maybe 60 or 70%, certain, which is not certainty at all, because like, what is it, like 60% of the time works every time. I think that a lot of times when you have increased liquidity coming in, and especially with the way that we're looking right now, I think hitting like some of the FIP levels up about like 342, 593, I think those are possible, depending on liquidity conditions. I think a lot of people are not really that understanding in terms of what percentage gain something parabolic like this could do. If you look at it, it's already made from like $6 all the way to like 160. Majority of the percentage gains probably already been made with Palantir. I think it probably still have another leg up, but I think the percentage gain is going to be significantly smaller than what it's done before. With that said, the setup that it had was whenever it ends up breaking above the key higher levels, and these are some of the things I also kind of picked up from Matt as well, where it breaks up about like some of these higher fit levels like 0.786 or 0.86, those are kind of like the final bosses for Fibonacci retracement. If you're able to break back above those levels, generally you kind of have stocks that can hit like escape velocity where they can just keep going and just keep breaking levels and make all-time highs. That's what Palantir here did, and I think this is like one of the poster child in terms of what something like that can happen. One that is also a poster child for something like that already has been playing out pretty well is Robinhood. That was really like the most obvious Palantir candidate or Palantiring candidate, where whenever it really broke about the 0.86 over here back in May, the rest is history. Like you can see that the writing was on the wall. It's going to make all-time highs, exactly what it did. Without going through the other stock picks that are going to be like more minors, because I think that's a little bit more like a separate thing that I want to maybe have Matt talk about too in a little bit. SOFI, it's doing that thing, it's got a full Bollinger Band, monthly Bollinger Band expansion, looking like it's wanting to do a very volatile move here. It's about the 0.86 here just fine. I think it's getting ready to kind of push up higher. It's one of my Palantiring candidates. Firm is another one of my Palantir candidates. Bollinger Band is still expanding to the upside and the downside. We're having a little bit of a hard time breaking about the 0.76, so that's going to be a little bit of a laggard here. But as far as I'm concerned, it's still Palantir. Shopify, you have the monthly Bollinger Band expansion, and you also have the monthly candle. Last month closed about the 0.86, and this one is still staying about the 0.86, just basically tagging the upper Bollinger Band as it continues to expand together with the low Bollinger Band. The more parabolic move looks like it's going to happen here. The other candidate was silver, which is a little bit outside of my usual. I'm going to take a look at the 3 month, because the silver cycle really lasts for a very long time here, like for almost like a whole decade and a half here. You can see how Bollinger Band is expanding. You can see how it's getting close to approaching 0.86 here. Now that could be some strong resistance here when it gets there. And we might end up getting stalled here for a couple months when we get there. But if it hits the 0.86, if it breaks through, then some pretty crazy all-time high thing can also happen here with silver. If it gets rejected here at 0.86, that could be the cycle end, right there. But so far, the trends are friendly, the trends are very, very bullish. Bollinger Band is expanding. So I'm looking for maybe some size consolidation and then break through, make some all-time highs here for silver. Also have Tracker also was talking about Roblox, about how this could potentially be a Palantir candidate, and I have no doubt that this is definitely a Palantir candidate because you have a full Bollinger Band expansion, and you broke about the 0.86. I think you simply just need to consolidate and just kind of wait to cool down here a little bit before price can go up higher. But this is certainly another Palantiring candidate, and I think another one that is on the verge of becoming one is Tesla. The Bollinger Band is still contracting here, the lower Bollinger Band, but I think once it hits like the close to upper Bollinger Band, I think lower Bollinger Band is probably also going to end up expanding downwards as well. And if you're looking at the FIP levels, you can see how it's really seriously challenging the last boss at the 0.86 over here for like 5 months in a row, or 4 months, I should say. I should say 4 out of 5 months. And it looks like it wants to break through. And whenever it ends up breaking through 0.86, I think it's probably going to be doing something very similar as Palantir with a little bit of escape velocity. I'm not saying it's going to be a straight line up like Palantir. It could be more higher highs and higher lows on the way up. But it looks like we might be hitting some escape velocity here. Last time we had a false breakout here, but you can see how the Bollinger Band wasn't expanded yet. It was just way outside, and we needed to cool down, so we decided to get slammed all the way back down to the 21 moving average. But right now, we've tested that sufficiently, and it's uppointing. I think we have enough room to kind of go up higher over time. So that's my Palantiring update. Now, I also have other miners, such as, IREN, such as Galaxy. Also think like Cyver's one, but I'm going to maybe pass it to Matt to have him talk about altcoins and miners. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I'll start off with my Doge chart first, since you showed yours. I'll show mine. And here we go. So essentially, it already broke out and backtested this orange GAN arc, very, very bullish. And now it's establishing a base on top of the 19-cent zone. And we are trying to just break above this 618 and get a lot more bullish. So I think it's just been range bound for a while. And that's bullish, right? I like things when things are consolidating at higher levels over and over again, breakout, backtest. And we saw that multiple times, right? Since the bottom, we broke out, we backtested, we broke out, we backtested, and we're holding levels. So 26 cents, next target, 32.41. That's basically how it's going to go. But it looks like it is trying to be more and more bullish and just waiting to break above that 26 cents. Yeah, we can also look at ADA as well. It looks like it is kind of similar to Doge, broke out, backtested the orange arc, and also staying above the 50% fib, just like Doge here at 82 cents. So we're going to keep watching that as a potential support to go higher. So nothing bearish about this chart either. We can also look at XRP. Oh, there's nothing on this one. Oh no, what can we do? Well, we can look at the GAN square and just look at what is really developing on this high time frame. And essentially, it's super bullish, right? It's higher highs, higher lows. And not only that, if we just drew like a flat line, essentially right around here, it's trying to flip a previous resistance zone back in January, back in February, to a support, right? It's really right in that zone, the 293 zone. And I think it's just struggling to break back above, but it's finding support, right? It's finding support, and we can go just do a temporary quick little fib from the most recent high to the low, and we can actually see what is happening in this little range. And essentially, it just went back to backtest the 702. Now it's trying to flip the 289 to a support, the 786, and then we got the 312 right there to break. So sometimes when you're just curious about what things are going to do short term, the most nearest highs and lows can really tell a story of what's really happening. So we're kind of waiting for 289 to become a support again. Then we're waiting for 312, then 340, and so on. So bullish developments, no matter what. I think 272, it doesn't really need to go lower than that. We do have the Ichimoku baseline right here, which is around 263. So that could be a potential, but I think it already had a chance to go touch it down here last week, but it refused to do so. So perhaps it doesn't really need to do that. Maybe it's just going to wait for the baseline to eventually catch up to price a little bit later. So sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But no matter what, it's a very, very bullish development for the future. And we can talk about Solana too. Solana broke above the weekly Ichimoku cloud and is continuing the journey higher. But more importantly, it broke back above this arc right here, which kind of already flipped to a support. So it's really bullish on all counts, right? It's just waiting to get closer and closer to previous all-time highs and go up towards the 200s, 300s, and above. I think if we put on a Fibonacci retrace from the last cycle, it tells a good story of what's really happening, flipping that 886 to a support. Once that really happened again back in, what was that, August, right? Once it got back above it, that was really the sign it's ready to start breaking more resistance. And sure enough, so stay above the cloud, stay above like that 203 zone, 200 zone, then it's probably going to go back towards the 259, where it never closed any weekly candle above in history. So that would be a very bullish development if we get a weekly candle close above that, because then we can start talking about fib extensions for Solana. 600s, thousands, 2000s. That all becomes possible once it breaks into all-time highs. And another one, Link, it's looking fantastic. It just got above the weekly Ichimoku cloud in a hurry with one big 35% candle. Big breakout, rejection kind of right where it should, expected. And now we have consolidation in this zone. A lot of people think maybe it's going to go back to 21. Sometimes I think that too, like it could be necessary before it wants to go higher. But no matter what, the back tests for Link are super bullish and opportunities for everybody that missed out. Right. I know when the time comes, when it gets to like 21, or if it gets to 21 or a little bit below into the 20s, like, oh no, this is going to collapse again. And then we don't buy. But usually that is the wrong thing to do, because this is looking like a previous resistance right here. Fake out, right? Maybe a head and shoulders that broke above the neckline too, right? And this is something that would be super bullish to backtest that zone, right? So I would not be afraid of 21 at all. That is incredibly healthy before it wants to go to the 30s and beyond, which most likely it will get to, right? I think it's going back to all-time highs. I actually think it's going much higher. Like the 100s, 140s, even 200s become possible for Link. And the one that I want to pay attention to a lot recently is AVAX, simply because it is really trying to break above the 382. And I think it might be like a Link candidate, right? Breaking above some of this is just going to force it to shoot above. And it could even do something like Link, where it's just going to do one bullish engulfing candle and just smash through the cloud, smash through everything, just like Link did, and flip everything to a support just in 1 week. I can see that happening. Maybe not this week, maybe not next, but I can see it kind of building up, especially with the conversion line now actually pushing up price, right? It's kind of like giving it a little bit of a push up to break through this 25, to break through the 26, to break through the 29. And I could just see a big, gigantic candle going above 35, 36, 37 pretty soon. So I think stay above the 25.53. I think we might see that sooner than later. And it's really exciting to me. So with that, those are a lot of the altcoins we can talk about. I think some big... oh, PEPE. Okay.
Might as well get that one knocked out of the list, you know, for the lightning round.
Yeah, fair enough. PEPE, basically, let's move the fibs over here. I'm watching this 0.1029, right? That's that 1.414 fib from the 2023 top and bottom. Just like to watch that fib, because it has been trending within these fibs very well for a very long time. So essentially, right in the 100-week moving average, that's bullish, right? Trying to break resistance, that's also bullish. But it's just stuck. It's been stuck in this range, stuck underneath the cloud. So I think we're going to have a little bit more patience. But I could also see it doing one giant bullish engulfing candle to get above the cloud and the 1.618 again too, as long as support continues to hold, which it is. So that's really the next zone, the 1029, and the baseline and the conversion and the 50-week moving average at the 122. All those got to get broken before any chance of getting a real breakout. So it's like a lot of coins right now. They're just stuck. But this stuckness, quote unquote, is probably not going to last too much longer, because things are holding levels super well. And I think it's just a matter of time before they break out. That's the PEPE.
All right, now you can talk about all the miners, including Bitfarms.
All of them.
Including Bitfarms. Can you do it?
Yes. Actually, I'm going to start with Bitfarms, just because everybody hated it when it was under $1. Everybody hated it. And I'm like, I was telling my Patreon people, like, this is still not scary. Even when it was down here in like the 60s or 70s, I'm like, yeah, it's still fine. It's just like a triple bottom. If you go look at this zero level right here, it's like a boom, boom, and down over here, a bottom. Like, it was just a very big breakout backtest level before. So just stabilizing in that zone, it wasn't that scary. But now that it's all exciting, guess where it is? It's exciting right at resistance, and that's a 50% fib. And it hit that exactly today, 162. And that also coincides with the cloud too. So am I going to be excited right now? No. I mean, there's so much time right here with this W for winning bottom. So much time there. So much time. And if you don't accumulate down there, then I think going up here is just chasing. So I would be a little bit cautious here, because could do some more consolidation, but maybe even back down to the 130s again before trying to break out. So bullish at support, guys. Cautious at resistance on charts like this. And we can also go to what are the big movers? WULF is one of them. Yeah, WULF already broke above the 618. Previous resistance, flipping to support with continuation higher. We got the 1182 right there. That is on my focus. I think it can get there. I think it spent enough time consolidating in the zone and it failed to go back test. So I think what we can see is a breakout higher first before any possibility of a retrace. So I'll be watching that 1182 next. And even BTBT is another candidate that people were scared of, but Kat pointed it out many times too, the 382 fib. 257, it's basically holding as a support zone. Last week it closed below, but who cares? Now we got like a Morningstar candle formation forming there, which is bullish, and it's trying to even break above that downward sloping 200-week moving average with all that other stuff above. But I think I'm more bullish, even though it's approaching resistance. I'm more bullish than anything that it can just keep going and trying to break through, because this was a big consolidation, right? Rejection kind of right where it should, 50% fib, bottom of the cloud, and a long consolidation and rejection and back test and shaking out everybody, getting more bearish again. I think it has potential to just continue to stabilize and push through higher. So I like it. IREN, all-time highs. We're looking for a weekly candle close above 28.25 this week. I think it is possible. I think it can do it. So that's the level I'm watching the most. I think today's breakout was kind of a real deal situation, a real deal McNeil. So we're going to watch that 28.25 for the rest of the week. And Cypher, it's almost at the 886, but I also think there's a possibility to continue that journey higher as well before any major rejection. Already a previous resistance level, flip to support too. So more and more bullish with that. Even RIOT, super fantastic, trying to break above the 382 here, 1514. This is not a bad idea, right? This would be good. Previous resistance right here, trying to flip to support. So let's watch that for a weekly candle close. Close above it would be a bullish scenario for the potential to go even much higher up to this 43s and beyond. Even the ones that people hate, CLSK and Mara. Look what CLSK is doing, getting back above the 50% fib here from this recent high to the low. I just want to show that because it's been battling that for weeks. So I think that's an important number. And this is kind of the reason why it hasn't really been going back to the 200-week moving average, because it's like the halfway point from the recent low to the recent high, right? So this is good. It's a good development here for that chart. So we're going to just keep watching that level, 939, stay above it. It can go higher. And Mara, another hated one too, but you know what? It just keeps on hovering right around that baseline there, around 1566. So that's nothing scary. It's just buying enough time until it wants to get into the cloud and go higher. So honestly speaking, there's really no Bitcoin miner that looks sad to me. Even HIVE, very, very nice, trying to get inside the cloud, trying to get above the 236, 279. It's just really, really healthy development. Maybe this 100-week moving average will be a resistance, 295. So we'll watch that. But just stay above 279. That'll be bullish for HIVE. And HUT too. HUT is looking really healthy here, breaking above the 618. And that's 25.78. And that's basically a big zone before. So flip that to support, it can go to 33. So people that hated the miners last month are all of a sudden changing their mind and they're starting to love them. But last month was a really good opportunity. And that's why I can't stress enough that when things are bullish looking and they keep on holding support and backtesting support over and over again, it's not to be scared. It's a very good opportunity, which a lot of people missed out on, but so goes it. All right, Cap. Or
so
Tracker.
Good. Tracker, anything else to add?
No. You guys take us on out through here.
Oh, okay.
No. Lightning. I did my thing at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's the case, I think we're getting kind of towards the end of the show here. I do want to touch on one of the Palantiring candidates that I didn't touch on earlier, Coinbase. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update here. This is my GAN, and you can see how it's just been stuck in ARK here. A lot of people are saying that it's going to go down to the 240s. There's no proof of that really happening because it's been just stuck in GAN ARK jail here for a while. If you kind of zoom in here a little bit, you can see how it's forming a little bit of a morning star, a little bit of a bullish engulfing candle over here too. The week is still young. We can still getting rejected here at the ARK, which is completely fine. But you can see how it's just basically just been stuck in ARK here, has been finding some pretty decent support here. Now, if you just look at the local fibs here, from the recent high to recent low, you can see if I change this to linear here, that it was touching the 0.5. It basically just retraced exactly half of this move here, and it touched the 0.5 once, twice, and 3 times. And it's the magic number 293 right there. So 293 was where the ARK was where that fib was. What else was 293 at? Well, the Ichimoku baseline over here on the weekly, that was 293. Interesting. A lot of this confluence is happening over here. Around 293 was also where the rising 20-week moving average was. It was basically closing late last week right around the area of a rising 20-week moving average. Interesting. What else is this level potentially at in terms of confluence? Well, there's something called an anchored volume weighted average price. Let's take a look at where that could be. Is going to be support or resistance if I use this bottom pivot over here. Oh, it's a support right there. Interesting. So all this confluence is basically telling you that, hey, maybe we got a pretty strong level here that could hold, and if it ends up holding, then I think some pretty decent bullishness is going to happen. If you also just look at the monthly chart here, I'm just going to do Ichimoku here. You can see how it's using the Tenkan or the conversion line. It's kind of serving as a little bit of a launch pad over here. It looks like something that reminded me of when it was right around the launching pad over here. It kind of reminds me of that, little pre-Palantiring move over there. I think Palantir, basically the bullishness came, and I think this is like a little bit of a pre-came kind of thing. So if that's such a word, I don't know. Where are we at right now? Why are we having a hard time breaking through the current level? Well, let's take a look at it. It's at this is linear fibs here. If I change that to log fibs here, 0.86 is at resistance here again. Darn. Well, if I look at the weekly here, it doesn't look nearly as bad, because if you look at the weekly here, it really looks like we've just been hovering around the 0.86 for about 6 weeks. And we got a little bit of a morning star look to it. If we end up closing this week candle just really anywhere like halfway of this candle over here, that would be a bullish formation. I think you probably have enough energy to kind of push through and go higher. And again, if we reclaim the 0.86, you know what's going to happen. Probably going to go Palantiring too. Yes, I just want to add a little bit more on the Coinbase chart here before I go talk about the other stuff here. And we can just go through a little bit of a lightning round here real quick. Somebody was asking about Astria Labs and ALAB here, and it's just a bullish trend here. I don't have any particular like fib levels. I mean, I can force some fibs here from the beginning to like the low here. There are some fib levels here. It looks like it's respecting 1.4 and 4 over here, but it's breaking about the 1.618 now. This is probably going to go higher until otherwise noticed. The only question is, are we overextended here? I think I can look at a weekly here. The weekly doesn't really look that overextended. The only thing is, if I do a little bit of RSI here, I don't think we're really seeing any like bearish divergence here either. I think it still looks pretty bullish to me. So higher highs, higher lows. I don't like when things are that overextended. Usually I get a little bit more cautious. Wherever you make a higher high right here, and RSI is making a little bit of an equal high here, I get a little bit more cautious here. I probably wouldn't enter where it is at right now, but I cannot deny the fact that it's kind of breaking out here. So, take that with what you will here. And another request about ENPH. ENPH, I actually try to dabble in here a little bit, but I decided to kind of tap out because I see that the downtrend was going to continue as soon as there's not really any, support that's being really held over here. I was tapping out around here. And sure enough, it just kept going lower after that, unfortunately. I just took a small loss. And right now, bullish is expanding. And right now, the 20-month moving average is all the way up here. It could have a little bit of a dead continuous bounce at any time. It bounce up, and it would still be a pretty negative, 20-month moving average, and can still potentially get rejected over there. But currently, it's still a downtrend to otherwise noted. I don't have any like support, like it's underneath the Ichimoku. If you want to do fib levels, I suppose from like the all-time high to all-time low. It's hitting a 0.618 over here, which is a pretty decent level over there. Is that the bottom over there? I can't really say that that's the case, because you see like how the bullish band is expanding like that crazy. You can also see, like, in general, when I was trying to catch a falling knife, I generally like to see a little bit of bullish divergence. I thought I was seeing some over here, but it just broke down. So, like, right now I'm not really seeing any bullish divergence here at all. So still a bearish stock. I would let it maybe at least show some sign for bottoming, show a little bit of bullish divergence here before I even consider getting into something like that. Zoom is going to be extremely easy. It's a big giant round of bottom over here. If you look at the FIB level, basically, let me see here. Let's say from all-time high to all-time low here. 0.136 is a key level. You see how I got rejected over here. 0.236 is also a key level. You see how I got rejected over here. It's reclaiming 0.136 over here, which is good news. The other thing, too, is the Bollinger Band with the 20-month moving average is kind of circling, those resistance here now. It's being a support. So this is a bullish chart. I just don't know how high and how impulsive it's going to go. It looks like it's going to be like PayPaling, if you will. It's just really, really, really slow. And I don't know when it's going to end up becoming more impulsive. It could take a long time because there's no impulse right now for that stock. Now, LYFT is bullish. The reason why I think LYFT is bullish is because you can see how the 20-month moving average is flipped from negative slipping here to positive slipping, is turning into support over here. You got a little bit of Bollinger Band squeeze over here. I think it's getting ready for a breakout here at some point. If you're also looking at some of the FIB levels, I suppose I can take a look at like the all-time high to the all-time low and then kind of see where you are. You see how the 0.382 over here is pretty significant resistance level over here. I think that's probably also going to be resistance close to $20. We'll see how it reacts there. With the Bollinger Band starting to kind of expand here a little bit, I think it's probably going to end up breaking through. Not like here. It wasn't expanding. It was contracting. Now it's expanding. So maybe we have a little bit of a better chance here with LYFT moving forward and hit some of the higher targets here. Somebody asked about IRD. I have no idea what this is, but I would be a little bit cautious when you have a negative sloping 20-month moving average. You see how I got rejected over there is because you get rejected here so far. You see how you have 3 candles trying to break about this bearish candle over here and having a hard time doing it right into resistance. I would probably stay away from it. I don't see this as a good setup here at all, unless if it ends up breaking above and then flip that, form a little bit of a base here. Maybe this is like an atom, maybe form a little bit of ETH base here, but that might take time. I'll probably end up just staying away from something like this. Canon, somebody asked about this. I think they broke my zero level. I mean, I'm just going to erase that. Currently, very similar to end phase, lower high, lower low. Hard for me to be too bullish on it. Plenty of room for it to drop down because the Bollinger Band is expanded to the downside. 20-month moving average is negative sloping over here. So I'm not so sure about this one, guys. I'm just probably going to end up staying away until it proves itself to do something, more bullish here. I just cannot, even if I look at the volume here, yeah, you got some really strong volume here. It might be trying to form a base here. Maybe doing a little bit of accumulation zone over here. You could try to based on that, I suppose. And then the other thing too, if you really want to try to catch this falling knife, I can see like how it's kind of forming a little bit of equal RSI here at the bottom. Maybe it's trying to bottom out here. I'm not sure, but I'm not seeing enough signs for me to really want to like dive into this and keep buying, CAN. A little bit of volume over here is promising. This could be like the spring or whatever for accumulation, but I just don't see enough evidence for me to really want to get into something like this. I talked about SOFI earlier as one of my Palantir candidates, so I'm going to skip that one here. And the other one would be MP. I think that's the most recent request here. As far as I'm concerned, it's broken about this previous all-time high over here. Is doing a little bit of back test, so it could go back all the way down to like $60, and that would be still very, very healthy. It could consolidate up here for a long time, and it could still be very, very healthy. You can look at the Ichimoku, how it's still a little bit overextended. I don't think it's necessarily going to go all the way back down to like 49 or 48 or something like that. But this is still a bullish stock, and it's went too far too fast. I think it needed to kind of cool down here. I would not buy anything that's way outside the upper Bollinger Band. I'll probably wait for the cool down. If it dips down to maybe 49, 48, that might be a good entry zone for me. But like right now, when everything's just way outside the upper Bollinger Band, I just cannot get myself to buy because it's way overextended. And when things are overextended, you can correct through time or through price a little bit. But this is still a bullish chart. So you see the dichotomy there. You can be bullish about it and still be a little bit bearish about it on the short term because the consolidation over here could last for months and months and months and months. I think somebody asked your question, Mattsby. You have a voice of a saint. I don't think that's a question, but how high will others' market cap go in 5 years, sir?
Billions, quadrillions. I don't know.
5 years. 5 years.
Well, I think we can just look at others' chart here, and when we look at the fib extensions after it breaks free of this arc, I mean, these are the possibilities during this cycle, right? We could go to 800 billion, 1 trillion, 1.65 trillion. I think that's all possible this cycle. But is 5 years going to be this cycle? Nobody knows, right? So possibly even higher, maybe 4 trillion, maybe even 6, who knows? But I think we can just look at these fib extensions and just look at the possibilities, right? From 800 billion to maybe 11 trillion, maybe even 82 trillion, maybe even 276 trillion, right? Those are a little bit too optimistic for 5 years, but you get the picture. Things can become more and more exponential.
Yay! Well, do you want to get to Oscar too while you got the screen?
Oh gosh. Yeah, Oscar is trying to flip the 786 to a support. That's been a while. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but either way, it's still from this top. It's a lower high, lower high, lower high. So it still is a resistance zone, even if it goes back up to 21, 22. So it's got to really prove that it wants to flip it to support and then stabilize above it, because it really has had a difficult time finding stability above it. So I think maybe the most healthy thing would be is just not have a huge gigantic breakout like maybe it had before, and maybe just slowly just build a base on top of here and maybe get higher. So bullish chart, but I liked it down here. I liked it at 13. I liked it at 14. I liked it at 12, right? All the places where people thought it was going to collapse, that's where I liked it here. I don't really like it here because it really has to prove itself to break out, right? It's at resistance. Current price, $22. It's got to prove it wants to go to 26. Until then, let's watch 1992. All right. With that, final thoughts, everybody. Tracker, you feeling bullish out there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a sloggy bunch of weeks. It feels like wave twos are getting wave twos and then extended wave twos. But no, it's definitely gonna. I'm bullish on civilization and humanity. So yeah, it's just gonna keep going up.
To infinity and
beyond.
Yeah, I'm not sure about humanity. I think everything is going to collapse, and they have to print their money out the way, to keep the Ponzi going. But I don't know. But either way you look at it, it turns out to be the same conclusion. Money printing is happening. I think it's doing it to fight deflation from innovation, and then at the same time trying to get politicians elected. So it's a win-win situation, unless if you don't have assets. Assets. I said assets. I didn't say anything else. Unless if you don't have assets.
I like that.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah. You're definitely an asset man.
The more economic activity you have, the more money you have to print.
Right, and the more money you have to print, the more screwed you have if you don't own any assets. So it's important to own the right assets. We're not talking about what assets not good right now. I don't even know, like TLT. I mean, it's forming a base.
Meta planet.
It's forming a base too. It's forming a base too. Yeah, but I think it's important to own something and not be scared, because obviously I think they are gonna start printing money even from Jackson's Hole. They already talked about it. So anyway,
yeah, and rate cuts are coming. Markets are all bullish. There's really nothing that's bearish out there.
Yeah, except for the bearishness itself.
Like meta. So. Except for the bearishness itself. Yeah. True.
Yes.
True that. Significant bottoms. I agree.
That's true. That is indeed true. Tracker, Mattsby, always a pleasure.
Likewise, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would not trade this for hanging out with a night with the ladies. Like, that would suck. So
It depends on the need.
Screw that.
All right, guys. Fun time as
All right.
always.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks, audience. You guys are great. You're the best audience.
Take care.